And we're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Series 2, Episode 11 of History's Greatest Idiots, the show in which we bring you stories from the history of human cock-ups so that you can learn lessons from them and never repeat those mistakes again. But who are we kidding? We're humans. We like making mistakes. And sometimes we can bitch about them off air and keep it private between the two of us about certain platforms that won't be mentioned right now. Joining me as ever is... You guys will learn in time. Trust me. For now, we'll just keep that stum. For now, joining me as ever is Derek. Derek, how are you doing, my man?
I am doing great. That's a fantastic start to a little bit of time off for me.
Oh, yeah. You've got a whole vacation now. What have you got lined up for that?
Nothing. Just like I'm supposed to.
Oh, yeah. That's like, I feel like, and it's something I used to joke about as like, a teenager, like whenever my parents would book holidays, they were like, oh, we're going to book a place with like a really nice pool and really nice spa service. And I'm like, you guys are so boring. You just want to stay in the hotel and sleep and by the pool and catch the sun. I want to go out. I want to see the history. I want to go here and go there. And like, now I've hit my 40s. I'm like, fuck that. I want to sleep.
Right? Yeah. Hey, you want to just sit around today? Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck it. Do you want to watch a film and eat a bunch of food? And just fall asleep 3 or 4 times during the day in nice warm weather? Yes, please. Like I saw a thing on Instagram the other day. It said, welcome to your 40s. Kurt Loder is 76 years old. I was like, oh my God, he's 76? Oh, like, no, wow. Don't be that old.
No. Oh, dude.
I feel
he did remote control on MTV, right?
That's right. Yeah.
He started
a bunch of the news stuff.
Yeah.
And stuff. Yeah, he was on the ground when Rage Against the Machine, I mean, they didn't start the riot, really. A riot broke out because they were playing a concert between the Republican and Democratic events that were happening at the exact same time. They played in the parking lot in the middle, and the police just sort of charged them.
Oh.
Kurt Loder said, LA police worried about fans of Rage Against the Machine who were armed with... what was it, rocks and T-shirts, decided to use tear gas and tasers to disperse the crowd. And I was like, yeah, this guy fucking understands. So, yeah. I always loved Kurt Loder because while he was surrounded by all these like energetic young presenters, he was like, oh, what the fuck am I doing here? Oh, my God. He was always like laid back, mellow, kind of not really that interested in everything, but he always had this air of respectability to him. Now he's like, dude's nearly fucking 80.
Yeah.
You know? He's 15 years younger than my grandmother.
I don't understand why time just won't stop. Damn it.
Stay still. Stop speeding up, for Christ's sake. I don't want the lyrics from that bloody from Time by Jesus Christ, the name's gone, from Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah,
to be accurate. I don't want that to be the case. I'm like, shit, the older I get, the more I realize that Pink Floyd were absolutely fucking right when they were like, yeah, you're just chasing the sun at this point. Oh, my God. So, yeah, you've got a nice long vacation. I do. So envious. Yeah.
It's going to be good stuff.
Yeah, it will be. It's a good time of year to be off as well, I think. You know, like early June. It's not quite.
Yeah, it's time
scorching.
Time to reorganize, refresh, unwind from the 55-hour work weeks I was doing before, and
horrible.
Go back fresh. Focus a little bit on this fun stuff over here more.
Shit, yes, always fun. We honestly, and I know we've been doing this for like over a year now, like a year and a few months. We're like nearly 40 episodes in. It's something I look forward to doing, not just like the research and stuff, but like hanging out with you, talking about these things. The response we get from people, it's really lovely. And just doing the show is it's like one of the highlights of my week. So
me too, definitely.
Yeah, you know, I really lucked out. You guys won't know this process, but I put an advert on like it was like a voiceover network.
Yeah, I don't even think it exists anymore.
I don't know if it does either, and that's where I got the work for the Monument Mythos stuff that I do. So like that's where I got that, and I was like, at the time I was getting like bits here and there. I was like, oh, it's just another side thing. And now like Alex Kansas has got like nearly 200,000 subscribers on YouTube. The video's been viewed millions of times. to a whole bunch of horror fans. I'm James Dean and John Rockefeller, which is fucking insane.
That is
And
good
Nixon.
stuff.
I know, it's so crazy. And like, and I put an advert on there, and a load of people applied, and like I heard Derek's audition to like be on the podcast, and I was like, I have to. Like, there was no one else. I was like, as soon as I heard that, I was like, I have to work with this guy. He's so much better than everyone else. And like immediately, the humor was like my sense, and like it's been so good since then. So thank you so much, buddy. The loving is going to end, and we'll get to the content soon, I swear. But it was honestly, it was such a. I was struggling for an idea for a podcast, and then I came across this, and we spoke, and I was like, this is going to work. It's just going to work.
It felt really good right off the bat, and we've been pretty in sync. It's good stuff.
I think it helps that we've both got a background in radio, because like we understand like that kind of balance of like talking and interaction and stuff, but also like we've got similar experiences. We're about the same age. It's just it makes it so much easier. Anyway, we love each other. It's we've established that much. Derek, please tell me about your idiot this week. I'm really interested in this person.
Okay, so most of the people I talk about are usually like decent people that get off track, or you know, in some cases inadvertently cause the destruction of the world while they're trying to do good shit. This guy's kind of like that, but I would argue that he was never really a good guy.
Oh, okay. Dark.
So the man that I present to you today is credited as the pusher, if you will, or creator, or at the very least, the responsible party behind the drug thalidomide. I think I said that right.
Thalidomide. Yeah. Fuck me.
So
dark.
For those of you that are out there listening right now that are like, what the fuck is thalidomide? Thalidomide.
Yes.
You're not alone, because I said the same thing. And I think it was a bigger deal in Europe than it was here in the States.
Yeah, it certainly was in the UK. I think, like, I mean, obviously around, well, you'll get into it, but there is an entire movement of people who were born as what's become known as thalidomide babies.
Yes.
And some of them have gone on to be incredibly influential artists, which is really cool. But it was a huge news story here, like around about the time, like on par with major elections, with like the Chernobyl thing. It was considered like a massive scandal in the UK for like an entire generation of people right up to my age. So
worldwide, it's probably one of the biggest drug scandals that has ever occurred.
Absolutely.
And so let me give a little history on that drug before I get into the man. And because I'll be honest with you, there's not much to talk about with this guy until later on in life. I mean, also, I'm not a super fan of giving a whole lot of exposure and extra time to Nazi war criminals that got away with it.
Shit.
So that said, I think this might be the third time that I've talked about Nazis. Sorry about that.
No. It's just that we're covering idiots and arseholes throughout history, and the Nazis make up a fair chunk of those.
That's what I mean. It's like easy targets. So But anyway, so thalidomide is a medication that was used to treat, or is now used to treat, numerous types of cancer, including different types of melanoma, and it's used to treat graft versus host disease and some skin conditions, including complications from leprosy.
Yes, but we should also point out, it is an incredibly useful drug, for sure.
Right.
Now that we know what it could be used for.
If you say test it for a little while before you just... But so that said, it's a useful drug, but it was first marketed by the Grunenthal company in 1957 in West Germany, where it was available over the counter. And when it was released, it was promoted for anxiety, trouble sleeping, tension, and morning sickness.
Right. So heavily aimed at women, obviously entirely based on women with the morning sickness, but anxiety, trouble sleeping. Yeah. We've got to remember as well, in the 50s, there was like through the 60s, there was a bit of an epidemic of people being prescribed weird fucking drugs to treat like anxiety and trouble sleeping. Like, you're anxious, here you go, amphetamines. You know,
right?
like random shit like that. This will help you get through. Mama's little helper. It'll help you get through the day. Basically, you're on speed. Or meth, essentially.
Anxiety, here's some opium.
Yeah, here's a bunch of opium. Fucking hell.
Anyway, so thalidomide's released and promoted for anxiety and targeted at morning sickness because it was initially thought to be safe for pregnancy because they did absolutely no research or looking into it. And that's what you do.
Yeah. Screw research. Screw R&D. Fuck that.
The concerns started to come up in the 60s over birth defects that started to get traced back to it. And it was removed from the market in Europe in 1961. And thalidomide was eventually found to cause miscarriages, severe birth defects, and nerve damage for mothers who've been taking the medication while pregnant.
Yeah. Wow. Jesus.
Now, a little background on the Chey Grunenthal company. It was a German company that was relatively new to pharmacology at the time. And in a lot of the reports that I read, it was described as a place where Nazi chemists escaped after the war. So it was like a bolt hole where you just kind of plugged them in and kept them busy, sort of like NASA, but for different kind of chemists.
Yeah, basically.
One of those chemists was a man by the name of Heinrich Mückter. And he was appointed to the head of discovery at Chey Grunenthal, at this place where the thalidomide came from.
Right.
He was given this job based on his work with the German army's antiviral research. That's a really nice way of saying that, by the way.
Yeah, it's the nicest way I think it'll ever be said, to be honest.
So while his assistant was preparing for Regent's work, they isolated a byproduct that was recognized by pharmacologists as a sedative and worked some chemistry to improve the compound, including adding a lot of lead.
Oh, for fuck's sake, this again.
Anyway, it showed that it didn't have any toxicity in several animals, and then so they put the drug onto the market as thalidomide in 1956 as a sedative, but never tested it, not even once, on pregnant women or people trying to conceive. It wasn't something they thought about then, I guess.
That's ridiculous.
For nearly half a century after that, the privately owned company stayed silent and secretive about the epic tragedy that it created while it was just raking in shit tons of money. And even before the drug came out, the wife of an employee gave birth to a baby without ears after having taken thalidomide. But they ignored that warning. So even though they didn't test it, they knew.
Yeah, they knew.
But they said, fuck it, I'm going to aggressively market this in 46 countries with a guarantee that it can be given, quote, given with complete safety to pregnant women and nursing mothers without any adverse effect on the mother or child. End
Jesus Christ. That's just, yeah. We're into evil territory now. Yeah.
And it was this Heinrich Mückter's decision to ignore the warning and move forward with the aggressive marketing towards women for a non-toxic antidote to morning sickness. And now that we're all up to speed on that horrible drug, we'll talk more about this dude.
Yes.
Start at the beginning. He's born June 14th, 1914 in Germany.
Sure. Yeah. It's probably like some pre-German region or
Kurenzig.
Okay. Yeah. That's very good. Yeah,
anyway, so he didn't become publicly known until he became the scientific director at the Grunenthal Chemical Corp. Good grief. I'm stumbling all over my letters. As is usually the case, he didn't become famous, or there's not a lot about him. He didn't even have a biography because he wasn't born rich and famous. And to be quite honest, he was a shit. Yeah. So he built his career under his work with the Nazis, which was a fact that he never even tried to hide. And he boasted that he was a surgeon major and deputy director for the Institute for Typhus and Virus Research in occupied Poland during the war.
That's dark. Jeez.
So what he was doing there is he was running the institute at Krakow and running deadly experiments where they were coming up with a typhus vaccine. And since you can't grow typhus in a petri dish, they just loaded it into the people. And the death figures of the inmates is how he managed the data to determine the effectiveness of his vaccines.
Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
In 1946, when the war's over, he dipped back into Poland and went on the run and kind of hid. It shook out safe. He got that new job at the Nazi doctor Grunenthal pharmaceutical company
in West Germany, which is like kind of interesting because, I mean, I thought you see, when you said he kind of was working West Germany, I thought, oh, it's Operation Paperclip. But
not exactly. No,
he
just flew under the radar enough.
That's crazy because there were Nazi hunters everywhere, right? Around this time, it was a whole industry.
Might have been because he was a super duper millionaire by this time.
There we go.
Shortly after taking over at that company and pushing that infamous drug out, it became the second best-selling medication in Germany, right after Bayer aspirin.
Jesus Christ, that's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like there was the baby boomers, weren't there? So this is the start of the baby boomer post-war generation, right? So yeah, a lot of morning sickness going around. So that makes sense. That's so dark.
And even after he was alerted to the dangers of it, he still continued to aggressively market it. And he did everything he could to make sure that his cash cow stayed on the market, including hiding any studies or silencing as many people as he can through payoffs or whatever he needed to do. But it didn't happen. In January 1968, Mückter was put on trial along with other Grunenthal employees, but the trial ended abruptly in April of 1970 with a settlement that was undisclosed. Now, Mückter never took any personal responsibility for what he did or any of the stuff that he did throughout the war, and he was never charged in relation to his role in the experiments at the concentration camp or criminally charged for the thalidomide scandal. He died.
Despite the fact he knew.
Huh? Yeah.
Despite the fact he knew everything. God.
He knew and still went after it. He died at the age of 72 in Germany on May 22nd, 1987.
Oof.
And that's what I got for you. That was a quick one, man.
No, that was it's really interesting. First of all, how was he not tried and hung? He's a war criminal.
I think it was because of people focusing on another chemist at the time.
Right.
At the hell is the name of them? Buchan.
Oh yeah, the other one of the
Otto. What's his face?
Yeah. There were a lot of notorious kind of German scientists and evil doctors, Mengele and such.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like the vaccine research being done that way might not have been any different than what anybody else was doing at the time.
No,
Tuskegee Airmen, I think they were shooting them with syphilis and whatnot.
Yeah, that whole thing was. I mean, there is a big history around this time, and there's still people that make the excuse, oh well, if it hadn't been for this, then we wouldn't have this vaccine. It's like that is not a trade-off.
Bet we could have done it a different way.
Yeah, there are other ways. Like, you give humanity enough time to find a solution other than the most disgusting possible way of coming up with something, it will eventually happen, right? So the idea that, oh no, we had to do it this way it doesn't hold any weight for me, because there are always other ways that you can do it. It just needs a little bit more time, right? So, but yeah, the fact that this guy has absolutely no remorse and actually sounds a little bit proud.
Yes, he's super proud of his research. That's the only quotes that I was able to find on him. was how effective he was at finding the vaccines for typhus.
Yeah. I know that there's an account from the Nazi war trials when one of the prosecutors interviews one of the Nazis who is, who was a fervent Nazi. I can't remember the guy's name, but the prosecutor was shocked at how mundane this guy was. This guy who was responsible for the deaths of tens of thousands of innocent Jewish people. He was surprised that he was essentially a boring bureaucrat who was just like, yeah, I had to pay the mortgage. I had to, I had a family that I needed to look after, and this is my job. And okay, yeah, it wasn't great, but I had a job to do, and I did my job. And like, he was surprised at how blasé and kind of run of the mill this guy was. And it was that thought that evil isn't this dribbling, horrifying mass of scariness. It's actually kind of normal, which is the really scary part. It's like evil is every day. It's just unrecognizable a lot of the time.
I feel like evil all starts off with good intentions. Like you're trying to do something and then it just twists.
Yeah, there's a point at which you cross over, and unless you've got the right people around you, you don't go back, right? So it's hard though, because this guy he does seem mundane. He's a chemist and stuff, but he is probably a little bit at least sociopathic, because he knew the dangers of the drug and did not care, did not take any responsibility for it, just saw it as his thing, his creation, his duty, and he took pride in it. As a result of that, he's a Nazi, so he's immediately in the 80s, right? So there's never going to be a Nazi that scores below 80. I'm sorry, in the idiot spectrum, unless it's someone like Oscar Schindler, who at least was like, oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should help someone.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I think I have to go 89 with this guy.
That's fair.
Oh no, I'm thinking about it now. There are a lot of people that have been affected by this. I might up that to 91. Thalidomide has had a significant effect on people, and the very fact that it was created by a Nazi, the world should have held this guy to account before he even got the opportunity to create this drug and not test it properly. Had this been anyone else, because another chemist would have eventually come up with this, right? That's just the way science works.
I think so, yeah. Well, yeah. They actually bought it from another company, the basic compound that they used to start it with. So yeah, somebody would have gotten to it.
Exactly.
I skipped a whole big section of my information here. The numbers about the babies that there was it's estimated that it affected 100,000 pregnant women, causing at least 90,000 miscarriages and over 10,000 deformed babies that survived.
So dark.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah. So you're talking about he was involved in Dachau, so lots of deaths there. Then thalidomide, another bunch of deaths there. This guy has blood on his hands and he doesn't care. So I think maybe 92 now.
Okay, I'll take that.
He's the reason I wouldn't rate him higher is he's evil more than an idiot. This guy is a talented chemist, and the reason he's not rated higher is because he's not deliberately stupid. He's just evil. As much as I don't like using that word, because it kind of makes whatever happens other, so therefore you don't have to think about it. Oh, don't worry about that. That wasn't a human thing. Let's just carry on like nothing happened, sort of thing.
Well, we'll call it what it really is on the human terms. Is it's just so much complacency and lack of compassion that you just don't care.
There's no empathy there. He doesn't even care. This is a guy who, the Nazis were supposedly, they talk about the motherland a lot, the fascists and the Nazis and stuff like that. He affected more German women than a lot than the majority of others. Like you said, it was the second most popular drug in Germany behind aspirin. So the whole love for motherland part of his Nazi fanaticism doesn't hold up to scrutiny either. So he's not even a proper Nazi. He's just a psychopath.
Yep. Love for motherland, none for the mother.
No, exactly. It's so fucking crazy. So yeah, I'm happy to go with a 92 on. So remind me of his name again.
Heinrich Mückter.
Heinrich
Mückter. I don't know the U with the dots over it. How do you say that?
Oh right, yeah, it's Müller. I guess it is Mückter. Yeah. So yeah, Heinrich Mückter. Gross, horrible. Yeah, there was always going to be a high score of that one. Mine probably less so, and a little bit more recent. I kind of kept you in the dark about this one. I gave you some elements of it, and you may have guessed, but this is more of a fun one, although it's kind of dark still. But it's a lot more lighthearted than thalidomide and Nazi war crimes and stuff. Let me tell you the story, which I'm sure you're familiar with, of Jussie Smollett, self-sabotaging at its finest. Oh, here we go. Jussie Smollett, that's his full name, was born in Santa Rosa, California, the son of Joel and Janet Nee Harris Smollett. He has 3 brothers and 2 sisters. This is going to get really annoying. Jake, Jockey, Jojo, Journey, that's spelled Jurnee, and Jazz. So that family liked Jays, especially as the parents are called Joel and Janet. So
there you go.
That's what started it right there. It's like Jake, Jockey, Jojo, Journey, and like, well, we've run out of J's. What else works? Jehovah? No. Jazz. Perfect.
See, I went straight with Jackass. So
yeah, that would have been a bit cruel on that child.
I wasn't allowed to name my children.
Yes, this is probably for the best. So several, also a lot of his siblings are actors and involved in the entertainment industry. Probably not quite as famous as him, but they've made impacts on like various other parts of the world. So good for them. They're also less annoying than this guy. Smollett's mother is African American and his father is Jewish. The couple first met while they were working for a civil rights organization. Janet was working for political activists Huey Newton and Bobby Seale at the time. Not familiar with either of those two.
Me either.
No,
but now I want to listen to Huey Lewis in the news.
Yeah, exactly. Whenever you say Huey, that's the first thing that comes to mind. Jussie Smollett has said that his father would kill you if you ever called him white. So that's kind of
wow.
I mean, he said that in a jovial kind of way. That's not funny. So yeah, don't call his dad white. Joel Smollett, Jessie's father, was a cable splicer. So it's like kind of, I guess, like, is that like power lines? I guess something like that, maybe.
It's got to be.
Yeah, it's got to be something manual, like kind of. Doesn't sound like an easy job. Cable splicing. You know, whenever you hear that, or like, there was one guy I knew who, there was one guy I knew who installed cat's eyes in roads. So they're like the little things that come out the center of the road and reflect the lights and stuff. I was like,
right,
what's that like? And he was like, man, it's fucking tough, and I'm constantly scared for my life. I'm like, okay, glad I don't have your job. Let's see. His father was a cable splicer who had migrated from Russia to Poland and then later to America. So kind of jumped all over the place, really. And actually, it would have been, we say Russia, it would have been the USSR back at that point. So yeah, he probably did the best thing he could getting out of there at this point in time. His parents eventually separated when Jussie was 15 years old. It's hard to pin down the truth about what's going on with his father, because one article says his father was absent from his life for a significant portion of his childhood, with no explanation as to why. And then there's another article which says he's a devoted, loving father who provided for his family. So it's hard to know which is the truth, but a direct quote from Jussie says, my father was far from perfect, but he was okay with changing and becoming a better man. I didn't have him necessarily all through my childhood that I would have liked to have, but I had him in those last few years, and for that I'm grateful. Cats in the cradle and silver spoon.
I was going to say, if it's a quote from Jussie, I guess you probably can't believe it. So go with the other side.
We'll get to that. It's fucking hard to know. So yeah, the family moved to the Elmhurst neighborhood of New York borough of Queens when he was just 2 years old. So they left LA quite quickly, actually. Then they moved back to Los Angeles when he was about 7. So it's just coast to coast at this point when he's still under 10
hard
years
moves.
old. It's a lot of movement. And I mean, she's working with like political activists. So I guess like that's kind of a, you go where the election cycle is potentially, or where the movements are. But like, man, that's quite a transient life for a large young family.
Oh yeah,
so
what was that? Jesse, Jory, JJ, Jazz,
there's
Jimmy Johns,
six children. John Boy. No, no, there's 6 kids and 2 parents. So that's like a lot of movement for 8 people, really. Especially in, we're talking, early 80s, 90s. So that's a lot of hard work to get people from one side of the country to the other. Not an easy move at any point. So where am I? I've lost my place again. He moved. Then he moved to Los Angeles when he was about 7. Smollett graduated from Parmas Catholic High School in Parmas, New Jersey. So they've come back to New Jersey at some point. Well, and this is so weird. Like that's what one article says, and then another article where he's interviewed, it's completely contrary to that. I've learned that. I learned very quickly that whatever Jussie Smollett says happened in his life, there's usually 2 or 3 different versions of what actually happened. So it's very difficult to pin down what happened. So according to one source, he graduated from Parmas Catholic High School in Parmas, New Jersey. But in an interview he gave with Out.com, I went to 3 different high schools in my senior year alone, including the LA area Calabasas High School. It was called Calabasas. Smollett remembers. That doesn't sound accurate. And later, and Malibu High, which was also predominantly white. I felt very out of place. Every day it was almost like when you're putting on your drawers, you're putting on your armor, your Under Armour. That's weird.
He's going after advertising.
I know. He's like, endorsement. I put on my drawers to protect myself. It's weird. He's not very good in interviews. I'm going to give this to you right now. He says some really fucking stupid things, but he's an actor. So like a part of me is like, actors say dumb things sometimes.
Maybe
that's like their raison d'etre. He spent lunches at the library, and I dreamed of this, that I would be able to do all the things I wanted to do. How would I navigate a world where I was told I should probably be behind the camera because of being gay? So he knew from a very young age he was gay. And a lot of people like, you're never going to be an actor. You can't be a gay actor. You have to be behind the camera. Loads of gay directors, basically.
Horseshit.
So, yeah, it's like there's loads and loads of gay actors, and have been for a while. They've not always been out, but plenty of gay actors have been very successful in this world. In his last year, after winning the lead in a production of Damn Yankees, he lost it. People were uncomfortable that I would be kissing this white girl, he says. It was the year 2000. After that, I left the school because why subject myself to that bullshit? But apparently he graduated. So what's the truth, Jussie?
Mail order?
Strange relationship. Yeah, mail. Yeah, he got his
correspondence.
GED. Yeah, maybe he went to night school. Who knows? Summer school. When he was 19, Smollett told his parents he was gay, which, that would have been a pretty, difficult thing in 2001, not just telling your parents. I mean, obviously his parents are like civil rights activists, and like they're very kind of liberal in their approach to life. So it would have been a little bit easier, but this is 2001. It's still not the easiest time in the world to be gay. In certain parts of the world, even in like Western countries, the United States and stuff like that, there was still stigma around in the early 2000s.
Early 2000s, that's just right after that one famous one in like Wyoming where they
was that the inspiration for Boys Don't Cry? Or anyway, no, it was still like, no, that was the 90s. No, there was still a lot of homophobia around. In the early 90s, I think it's fair to say. So good for him on having the courage to come out at like a very young age, really, because not many people would have come out at such a young age back at that point in time. Smollett began his acting career as a child model in New York and later worked as an extra on the New York set movies for Mo Better Blues in 1990 and New Jack City in 1991, which is a cracking film. I honestly recommend anyone just go and watch New Jack City. It's not right. It's like kind of quite heavy-handed at times, but it's a good film. It's a good watch.
Yeah, it's good. It is.
It is. It's entertaining for sure. He went on to act in films. He was in The Mighty Ducks.
He was?
Apparently so. Okay. Yeah, maybe it was I don't really remember. I don't remember The Mighty Ducks. I don't really. It was a bit too I was too old for it. 1992 would have been 11. So it's like I'd kind of moved on. I was the kid that watched Aliens at 8 years old. So
yeah. I think when it came out, I was waiting for the next Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Yeah,
so.
There you go. That's me too. And he was also in Rob Reiner's North, which I don't know.
Sounds familiar, but I don't know that I've seen it. My memory's crap these days anyway. So.
I know. And I remember a lot of Rob Reiner's bigger work, like Spinal Tap and The American President and stuff. I don't necessarily remember his smaller scale stuff. So, but hey, he was in a Rob Reiner film, so good for him. And on television, he starred alongside his 5 real-life siblings in the short-lived ABC sitcom On Our Own in 1994 to 1995.
Don't recall that at all.
No, I don't either. It's typical.
I watched a lot of TV.
Yeah, I think I did too. I think it's one of those things where it's a child actor who has done loads of bit parts and stuff. Maybe not like a massive success. He's been in some films. Never really had that breakout Macaulay Culkin moment where he makes a shitload of money and has his parents nick it all. But, you know, it's like, apparently that was kind of, at this point, he took a break. He's like 14, 15. He's aged out of the child acting roles at this point. Between 1995 and 2011, Smollett stepped away from acting to finish his schooling, start his music career, and work as a staffer at Artists for a New South Africa, which is a civil rights organization. Okay. Really cool. I think his parents may have got him that gig, but that's fine. Spent the next 5 years with a brutal 2-hour commute on a bus, coordinating donations for auctions that raised money for the group's AIDS work. He kept making music, traveled to Europe whenever he could afford it, and eventually had scored enough support for his songs that he could quit to make an album and go back to auditioning. So he's had real jobs, basically, for like a good 14 years. Yeah, it's like he's been out of acting for 14 years at this point. So he did real shit.
Nice.
Which you would think would give him some perspective, right? Some real world experience, a bit of like, you know, when he finally does get famous, he's experienced the world a little bit, so he can connect and stay grounded. And
it seems like he would have a good, well-rounded, like he spent time in the entertainment, and then he went out into the real world, and then he went back, and he should have been grounded. Yeah,
and you know, the family were not well off. You know, they struggled a lot because all of the kids were into acting and entertainment and stuff, so there wasn't a lot of money to go around. His dad was a cable slicer. His dad died quite young as well, so his dad was dead. I think it was when he was still maybe in his early 20s or something like that. But you know, like it's a tough life, and you would hope that those kind of experiences would have given you a level of grounding that would make you easy to deal with. No,
not so much.
Not so much. In 2012, Smollett returned to acting with the leading role in Patrick Ian Polk's LGBT-themed comedy drama, The Skinny. Also that year, he released an EP titled The Poisoned Hearts Club. He later guest starred on The Mindy Project, which was a pretty good show. I enjoyed that. That was Mindy Kaling's thing after The Office. That was a pretty good show. And Revenge, which I don't remember, but I think I've heard the name.
I remember the name. I don't think I watched the show.
No, and like you probably wouldn't remember him anyway because he only had bit parts, guest starred and stuff. But 2014 was his year. Smollett was cast as Jamal Leon, a gay musician struggling to gain the approval of his father, Lucius, opposite Taraji P. Henson and Terrence Howard in the Fox drama series Empire, which was huge. Empire was fucking huge for a while. Like a lot of people I knew were talking about it.
It got it won all kinds of awards too, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah.
And it was really like, I mean, it was bombastic as fuck, right? There wasn't a huge amount of subtlety in Empire, but man, it was entertaining. Like that was a hard show in terms of like, wow, these themes are big. You know, it was sweeping and it's like kind of it was Shakespearean in its drama levels at times. There was intrigue, there was, you know, fighting, and it was a big cultural thing for a good few years.
Oh yeah, Empire. Absolutely, yeah, and hugely popular.
Yeah, and like actors like Taraji P. Henson and Terrence Howard, you know, these are big names. You know, Taraji P. Henson has been nominated for an Oscar. You know, these are high-profile people to be around, and by all accounts, his performances were very, very good. I never really watched a huge amount of Empire. I think I maybe watched like 3 or 4 episodes. And then like there was so much other stuff on that I just carried on watching that and didn't watch Empire. But apparently he was like quite popular. He made an impact. Everyone was like, "Oh, who's this guy?" He's a talented actor. So his role was hailed as groundbreaking for its positive depiction of a black gay man on television. Smollett reprised his role in subsequent seasons and directed an episode in the 4th series in 2017. So he's like really starting to get power, because people don't direct episodes of their own TV show until they're like a major star.
Oh yeah, that's it's like big deal to get offered to direct an episode.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like you look at, I keep thinking of House. Like Hugh Laurie directed 1 or 2 episodes, and just about anything like Seinfeld or anything like that. Eventually, one of the big stars will get offered an opportunity to direct. I think the biggest example I can think of the last 30 years was Star Trek: The Next Generation, because what's his name, who played number 1? Oh God, who played Riker? William, whatever his name is. He went on to become like an actual director as a result of directing a few episodes of Star Trek. I think he directed a couple of the films that followed as well. William Frakes or something like that. So it does lead to bigger things, but also like a lot of the time it'll lead into producing and stuff. So becoming so established in the series that you can direct an episode, that's big right there.
It is, yeah. You would want to give somebody advice that was in that position. Don't fuck it up.
Yeah, exactly. Like the world is your oyster now. Yeah. Right? Just get a good agent, let the roles come in and go from there. It was also around this time that he got kind of a lot more interviews, a lot more press attention, a lot more stuff. And going back to the Out interview, out.com in 2016, he started to say things like, my Twitter bio says, "I am here to help save the world. I have so much love inside that it pains me sometimes." That's
I can feel that.
I mean, yeah. I just feel like sometimes only actors and musicians say those in interviews, like because I feel like there's less. He could have been talking about something else. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm British. Like we don't the big show of like affection and stuff. It's just like, I don't know. I always approach things from a point of view like, why are you saying this? This is a bit weird. Why are you saying that? Is it because I don't know? I don't trust that. But anyway, like he starts getting a lot of interviews, a lot of press attention. In February 2015, Smollett confirms that he had signed a recording deal with Columbia Records and would be releasing an album in the future. Smollett co-wrote the songs "I Wanna Love You" and "You're So Beautiful" on the original soundtrack from season 1 of Empire, which obviously is focused on the world of music. So it's going to get a lot of attention. So to be able to write and record stuff like that, that's a big deal.
Another huge opportunity.
Massive way to launch your music career in 2015 as well. In June 2015, it was announced that Smollett would be guest starring alongside his younger sister Journey in Underground, which aired in 2016. Not familiar with that one, to be honest.
Me either.
No. Smollett released his debut album, Some of My Music, not the greatest name, in March 2018. Some of My Music, Some of My Music, SUM. I should put it like some.
Here's some of my music.
Here's some of my music, as in this is the entire sum of my music. It's an R&B album that features elements of electronic music and hip hop. Smollett self-released it through his own label, Music of Sound. The fuck does that mean? That's his record label.
I think that's how all the music is.
Yeah,
sound,
dude.
right?
That's an oxymoron, I think. In late 2018, Jussie Smollett's contract on Empire was coming up for renewal, and he felt like he deserved, because he was now a recording artist and director and blah, 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 he felt he deserved better pay and more perks in line with his, major co-stars like Taraji Henson and Terrence Howard. This is where the world turns upside down for Jussie Smollett. And I'm going to start with a bunch of dates, which I'll list off.
Okay.
On the 29th of January, 2019, Chicago police say they're investigating a suspected racist and homophobic attack of Jussie Smollett by two masked men, which happened at about 2 a.m. that morning. They say the actor was punched in the face, had an unknown chemical substance poured on him, which the media and Smollett would later claim was bleach, and a rope wrapped around his neck, or it was supposedly a noose. So
right.
Dark shit. Smollett tells the police that the two attackers also made reference to MAGA, Make America Great Again, the slogan often used by President Donald Trump and his supporters. He goes to a doctor, and the police describe his condition as good, despite the fact he's been beaten up and had something poured on his. Salutations, Dean and Vice President Hagrid. Hello. I've got a Monument Mythos fan in the chat. Hello. It's nice to see you, Toastoid. So Jussie Smollett, he's been attacked in the street at 2 o'clock in the morning by apparently white men wearing MAGA hats who tied a noose around his neck and poured a chemical substance over him. Do you ever get that thing where sometimes someone says the lie is so intricate it has to be a lie? Like when somebody says something, there's so much detail.
Oh yeah,
it's like the word orgy of evidence, right? So if you happen to walk in and like someone's dead on the floor, and then there's an unconscious person next to him with a gun in their hand, they themselves are covered in blood, there's a note next to the unconscious person that says, yes, it's definitely me, the unconscious person that did this, and then a bunch of murders of them, a bunch of photos of them pulling a trigger or something. It's called an orgy of evidence. There's so much evidence that you should be suspicious of it because it's just too
something's
detailed.
Weird.
Something's off. And something about that, and especially like that neighborhood of Chicago, 2 a.m., two white guys walking around with MAGA hats, walking around with a noose and bleach. It's just
that ends up being like, it feels really premeditated. Or what kind of people run around with masks, MAGA hats, and nooses? Or is that just like, is that come in the kit?
Exactly. Yeah, it's just like, you sign up to support Trump, and all of a sudden you get a bunch of suspicious and gaffer tape,
and gaffer tape,
and directions to all the Democrats' houses. So yeah, he's got, the police say that he's in a good condition. The very next day, stars including Viola Davis, Janelle Monáe, and T.I. come out with messages of support from the actor. Fuck T.I., he's a horrible
Rubber
person.
Band Man.
T.I.
I think that's the only song I know by T.I.
Oh, probably, yeah. He's got his own problems at the moment. Google that shit. His Empire co-stars, including Grace Byers and Naomi Campbell, also show support. So there's just like a flood of support from people at this point, and rightly so, because if this is a real thing, it's horrifying.
Absolutely, right? Yeah.
This is a really intense, racially / homophobic attack in the middle of a street by people who have made it super easy to identify them.
Right.
So crazy. And it would be like, if that had been true, that would have been like the height of the ultra alt-right MAGA insanity right there, that people are openly getting attacked on the streets. We're talking like kind of Crystal Nacht level insanity at that point. So yeah, if it's true.
If it's true. Well, let's see.
Yes, Grace Byers, who's his co-star, says about the incident: "This despicable act only shamefully reveals how deeply the diseases of hatred, inequality, racism, and discrimination continue to course through our country's veins." Which is true, but Empire creator Lee Daniels posts an emotional video on Instagram saying, "Hold your head up, Jesse. I'm with you. Not for long, you won't be." Comedian Steve Harvey, he actually gives a really interesting point of view. This is about coming to the aid of another brother that has tasted the brutality of hatred and racism and bigotry. Those are powerful words. He's rallying people around this guy. And, this kind of support from all these different people, huge, high profile people, that is huge. And it gives him a kind of a certain
ego
status.
Boost?
Yeah, it gives him a profile boost. Like all of a sudden, this guy is front page news across the world because of this horrific attack that's been perpetrated just when he was like coming out of the gym. Like he can't even go about his daily business without random racist scumbags attacking him in the street, or homophobic scumbags, whatever it is. So his profile is huge just at the time his contract's up for renewal, and he has a little bit more power. So it's like
perfect timing.
Timing's incredibly suspicious. On the 31st of January 2019, Smollett refuses to hand over his phone to police investigating the attack. They wanted to confirm details, including the MAGA references made, as the actor said he was on the phone to his manager at the time of the attack, which I think is also suspicious. But yeah, I think they just wanted to confirm, like, if it was a phone call or if there was maybe some sort of recording, and basically he was like, "No, you're not having my phone." And a day later, the police say he's a victim. We don't treat him like a criminal. I mean, I would be reluctant to hand over my phone in a situation like this, because I would be like, look, there's got to be CCTV somewhere, right? You don't need my fucking phone for that. But at the same time, like, it's slightly suspicious, right? That he doesn't want to hand over his phone.
Yeah, if it was going to be something that could catch the people that beat my ass, poured bleach on me, and suck, I would do everything I could to help, I suppose.
Absolutely. That's a good point, actually. I hadn't even thought about that. Comment here. It reminds me of that guy who got made fun of for his awkward dancing, and the guy got invited to attend a party with a bunch of huge celebrities. Yeah, situations like this do invariably raise the profile of the people who are victims of this. And yeah, like sometimes it's a good thing, like Toasterzoid said, sometimes it leads to a good thing. This one, just the timing's coincidental and anything. Anyway, when he was asked why he wasn't going to turn over his phone, they said that the police said they hadn't demanded his phone, but basically he said he had a load of private stuff on there, which for me is like, it's porn.
That's dick pics.
It's dick pics, isn't it? He's like, I don't want you seeing that shit. But, anyway. So the next day, the actor said he was okay. In a statement, the outpouring of love and support from my village has meant more than I will ever be able to truly put into words. He adds, I'm working with the authorities and have been 100% factual and consistent on every level. That's an immediately suspicious statement.
Yeah,
right. Who says that?
How do you know somebody's lying? I am serious as hell. Totally true. Facts, man.
I am absolutely 100% not guilty, says the man who probably butchered his wife and her lover. So Chicago police also released pictures of two people of interest that they want to speak to, and it's just like the back of their heads, so you can't really see much. Doesn't appear to be red caps though, just hoods up, so can't really see much really. So those are the pictures. Like, could be anyone really. Chief of Communications Officer Anthony Googly me. Anyway, the chief of communications, detectives are taking this development very seriously. On the 2nd of February 2019, at a concert that had been planned for a long time, Jussie Smollett makes some more comments on the incident. I'm not fully healed yet. I'm but I'm going to be, he says, reading from a piece of paper, just because there has been a lot of stuff said about me that's not, it's not absolutely true. Glancing at the balcony, he adds, I'm sure my lawyer's sitting up there saying, no, Jesse, no. He says, above all, I fought back. And then he finishes the statement by saying, and this is fucking stupid, I'm the gay Tupac, which is like, dude, Tupac's dead. You ain't the gay Tupac. I'm sorry.
Dude, Tupac was hard. Like,
yeah,
that was a brutal.
Tupac was gunned to death and survived a previous shooting. You are not the gay Tupac. The fuck is he talking about? The 11th of February. He's already getting a big head, isn't he?
Shit went too far.
It's getting out of control. The 11th of February 2019, Jussie Smollett gives police a PDF file of his phone records. That's super helpful. Thanks, dude. We'll run this through like fucking PowerPoint or something. After they had originally asked him for his cell phone and he refused, but the files are redacted. Some bits have been covered up. The police say there's no reason to suspect any wrongdoing from Jussie Smollett, and they are not even looking at charges regarding filing a false report. The 14th of February 2019, Valentine's Day, 2 people of interest are arrested and interviewed by the police, but not charged and not treated as suspect. They are this is going to be difficult for me to say. I apologize in advance. Obadinjo and Abinola Osendero, brothers originally from Nigeria. They're called, thankfully for me, so that I can say their short names, they're called Ola and Abel. Typically, that's how they're known. They're brothers originally from Nigeria. Here's the really interesting coincidence. They had worked as extras on the Empire set, sometimes going to the gym with the actor where he was assaulted.
Imagine that.
Yeah. There's fun fact. It's another thing in the chat here. Fun fact: Tupac's last wishes was for his friends to smoke his ashes. Nice. Yes, I remember hearing about that. And who was the other one? Oh, who was the I go back.
Wasn't Jerry Garcia?
Oh, Jerry Garcia. Yes, I was thinking Hunter Thompson, who was fired into the stratosphere on the back of a big fucking rocket. Yeah. That's crazy. Johnny Depp wants to be drunk. He wants to be put in a vat of whiskey and drunk at his decomposing corpse. I know that's fucking
very GG Allen.
Yeah, that's a way to go. So they'd worked on the Empire set and they'd gone to the gym with the actor. Their lawyer says some of the items seized from police police raid on their home include blackface masks, an Empire script, phone receipts, a red hat, and bleach. So some of the aspects of this were true. Bleach, red hat, random Empire script. That's weird.
Did they actually used bleach?
They did use bleach, apparently, or at least they found a bottle of bleach. So that's not necessarily saying that, they might have used a non-noxious substance, to be honest with you.
Just enough so it would smell like they mixed it in water, diluted it.
Water that shit down. Yeah, just just like a couple of pipette drops of bleach in there. On his refusal to hand over his phone, he says, I have private pictures and videos and numbers and private emails and private songs and private voice memos. Basically, he's got homemade porn, hasn't he?
Plus, I called those. Oh, never mind.
Yeah. Plus, I called them, but never mind. And speaking through tears, he says, gay people should learn to fight these kind of attacks. I mean, if someone's trying to hang you in the street, fight back. It doesn't matter if you're gay or not. If someone's trying to lynch you, fight, kick, punch, scratch, get as much DNA under your fingernails as possible, bite, go feral on anyone that's trying to attack you in the street. If they don't have a gun or a knife, fight back, hurt them, break something, get as much DNA as you can. Yep. Doesn't matter if you're gay or not. Go insane. They will run away. If you turn into a snarling fucking beast in the middle of the night, go fucking insane, I guarantee you the person trying to rob you runs away if they aren't armed.
Yeah, just flip out like it's 28 days later. Just start running at them on all fours.
Zombie mad. Forget all these self-defense things where and then you push the hand up and you remove the knife. Just go fucking Wolverine berserker mode on them and they will run. I guarantee it. Chicago police say they have no evidence support reports The attack was staged. Man, they are playing their cards close to the chest here. 17th of February 2019, Chicago police say they have seen there has been some developments in the investigation a day after they released the brothers without any charge. They say they want to speak to the individual who reported the incident. Why the fuck didn't they just say they want to speak to Jussie Smollett? They'll run away as long as they don't end up on the back of a milk carton. Yeah, exactly. Like, if you... I will fucking eat your soul. Just like, yeah, people will run away from you when you say that. The actor's lawyers say in a statement, Jussie Smollett is angered and devastated by recent reports that the perpetrators are individuals he is familiar with. Come on, dude. The game's up.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I like how the cops are like, we're not investigating it as a false report. Now they're doing the same shit he was doing. I'm totally not lying.
Yeah, we're definitely not closing in on the real perpetrator here. They add it's impossible to believe that the Ondesarios could have played a role in the crime against Jussie or would falsely claim Jussie's complicity. Well, it's one or the other, mate. All right, either they're lying or they did it. It's just the police have got them now. 20th of February 2019, 3 days later, Chicago police say the actor is charged with disorderly conduct and filing a false police report. Earlier in the day, a reporter in the US obtains footage appearing to show the brothers buying materials, including ski masks, that had been allegedly worn by the people who attacked the actor.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not great. Mr. Smollett's lawyers say they will conduct a thorough investigation and mount an aggressive defense. I really wish people would stop using mount a defense as like, it's a weird, it sounds wrong. Stop saying I'm going to mount a defense. It sounds weird. Then people start Jussie Smollett. Yeah, definitely. The rapper 50 Cent, who had previously come out in support of Jussie Smollett, posts a picture on Instagram referencing the actor's gay Tupac comment. In the picture, he put Jussie Smollett's face on Tupac's album cover for All Eyes on Me and changed the album name to All Lies on Me.
Oh, good move. Look at that guy.
Burn. I see what you did there, Fiddy. 50 Cent is a fucking troll online. He just loves like, did you guys hear about Ja Rule? I told you he was bad and stuff. Like, he just, whenever he gets an opportunity, he destroys people on the internet. It's hilarious. 21st of February 2019, at a press conference, Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson says that Smollett took advantage of the pain and anger of racism to promote his career. I mean, yeah. Case closed, really. So
that's the sort of stuff that like really gets on my nerves, because when you do that, it takes away from people that shit actually happens to.
Exactly. Like, this is going to be my ultimate point, is that you give racists and homophobes and people who do not believe in equality and civil rights and movements and stuff like that, you give them ammunition, and that is the worst thing you can do in this situation. You give them what about arguments, basically. Right. Mount a defense sounds weird. Ever heard someone say mount a horse? Oh, don't. Let's not go down that avenue. Let's not go there. So he also added that the actor did it because he was dissatisfied with his salary. I mean, yeah, basically. Police claim he also sent a racist letter to himself at a Fox studio and paid the Ondesario brothers a check for $3,500 to stage the attack. That is a bit of a fucking cheapskate.
Yeah. His contract must have sucked.
Yeah, man, $3,500 to wear a MAGA hat in public. Give me 10 times that.
To be fair, I send myself racist letters at least once a month.
Yeah, I know. It's just fun. Fox Entertainment and 20th Century Fox, the makers of Empire, issue a statement regarding the future of Jussie Smollett on the show. We understand the seriousness of this matter and respect the legal process. We are evaluating the situation and we consider our options. Meanwhile, somewhere Rupert Murdoch is screaming into a wall and punching his hands through it. President Donald Trump tweets about the incident, calling the actor's comments racist and dangerous. The orange turd should really have sat this one out. Him calling anyone racist is fucking laughable.
Oh, yeah. And to say somebody's dangerous.
Yeah, dude, you are the most dangerous man on the planet at this point. When asked about the alleged...
Except for that Russian guy.
Except for his best friend. When asked about the alleged attack previously, the president had said, I think that's horrible. It doesn't get worse as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it does. You could be Jeffrey Epstein's friend, but, we won't go there either. Later that day in court, Judge John Fitzgerald Like says the most vile part of the incident was the use of a noose. Smollett's lawyers issue a strongly worded statement after the hearing, calling it an organized law enforcement spectacle, which is absolute bullshit. They're just doing their job. The annoying orange. Yeah, that's what Trump is. 22nd of February 2019, Jussie Smollett is suspended from Empire. The TV show's executive producers release a statement saying the actor won't be in the final 2 episodes of the latest series. They add that the allegations against him are disturbing. That's a fucking understatement.
I would have wrote him off. I would have just been like, yeah, he was beaten to death on the show.
Yeah, he fell down an open elevator shaft, or was mauled to death by a jaguar, or it's just like some random
avalanche while skiing.
Avalanche while skiing. There you go. Fell asleep in a field, got run over by a combine harvester. Something that there's no coming back from. Something really disturbing. Fell asleep in a field that was suddenly cemented over. Like, just there's no way they can be like, oh, he disappeared. Sorry, go on. Reporters in the US get a copy of the check paid to the Alessandro brothers for the attack. It's dated the 23rd of January and says 5-week nutrition/workout program, and open brackets, don't go, close brackets, which sounds like a shit song title, let's be honest.
Well, yeah. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Don't go to the gym?
Apparently that must have been it. He chopped himself up and suffered. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the only way. ABC reports that Don't Go is the name of a music video Smollett was planning to shoot, which is why he paid the brothers to get him in shape. Okay, right. I get it now. Okay, I see.
It all makes sense now.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Totally real.
Yeah, that's definitely not dodgy at all. 1st of March 2019, the brothers regret getting involved. No shit. A statement from the brothers' lawyer, Gloria Schmidt, says they have tremendous regret over their involvement in this situation. It adds, they understood how it has impacted people across the nation, particularly minority communities, especially those who have been victims of hate crimes themselves. And that's the big problem with this situation. Is, like I said earlier, you've given racists and homophobes a gotcha argument for just about every situation. They will use it as like, oh, Hollywood's corrupt, Hollywood's like, and they will use Jussie Smollett as an excuse for anything they don't agree with.
Over and over and over again.
Over and over again. And that's the biggest part of this. The 13th of March 2019, Empire returns. The first new episode of Empire is aired since the alleged attack. Jussie Smollett's character, Jamal Leon, features in the episode, which is down in the ratings according to Variety. People voted with their feet or their remotes on this one. He's scheduled to appear in 7 of the remaining 9 episodes of the season 5. Oh my god. 14th of March 2019, Jussie Smollett pleads not guilty, charged with 16 counts of disorderly conduct and pleads not guilty. He must tell the court if he plans to leave the state of Illinois and is due back in court in mid-April. 26th of March 2019, Jussie Smollett is cleared of all charges. After an emergency court hearing, all charges against Jussie Smollett are dropped. In a statement, his lawyer says he was the victim who was vilified and made to appear as a perpetrator. They add that his record has been wiped clean. Utter fucking insanity.
Really?
Yeah. But Chicago police and the city's mayor stand by the case against Jussie Smollett, criticizing the latest development in a joint press conference. Superintendent Eddie Johnson says at the end of the day, it is Smollett who has committed the hoax, period. If he wanted to clear his name, the way to do that is in the court of law so that anyone could see the evidence. I stand by the facts of what we provided. Mayor Rahm Emanuel says Smollett was let off scot-free with no sense of accountability for the moral and ethical wrong of his actions. I couldn't understand that. I would imagine the reason it didn't happen was there's some sort of like, maybe it's fruit of the poison tree situation.
Yeah, somebody screwed the pooch on the
Someone's
evidence.
not gathered evidence properly, and as a result, like, you can't have this, therefore your case is basically useless. And Anyway, it gets more interesting. On the 27th of March, Jussie receives more criticism from the Chicago mayor. He calls the dropping of the charges a whitewash of justice and lashes out at Smollett for dragging the city's reputation through the mud. Dude, you're Chicago. Don't get too carried away there. Illinois prosecutor Joe Maggots, who decided to drop the charges, tells CBS he thinks Smollett is guilty, but he explains the charges were dropped because Jussie forfeited a $10,000 bond payment and carried out community service. That's not enough.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm torn on that.
To get off.
Yeah. Well, lots of people do it.
Yeah, they do, and a lot of them pay a lot more than $10,000. Just some of them in royal circles pay millions. Jussie Smollett's lawyer, Patricia Brown Holmes, says the case is closed and no public official has the right to violate her client's rights. Well, in a statement, she says, we respectfully request all government agencies involved live up to the ethical tenets of their office. The case was dismissed. We should all allow Smollett to move on with his life as a free citizen. 29th of March, 2019, Jussie is ordered to pay for police overtime. Chicago police orders Jussie to pay $130,000 to cover the cost of police officers, including overtime worked on the case. Officers say the time spent reviewing video and physical evidence could have been spent on other investigations. I agree. In a letter
like
to
they would have.
Exactly. Well, yeah, it's Chicago. What? We could have been collecting backhanders. They repeat accusations that Jussie orchestrated the attack. He did. 12th of April 2019, the actor is sued by the shitty. No, I apologize. The city of Chicago after Jussie Smollett refused to pay the $130,000 demand by the Chicago police. He was being sued for 3 times that amount. Police still want to be compensated for the manpower used to investigate this alleged assault. They still believe Jussie staged the thing. The brothers... let's see. It's revealed that Jussie Smollett's legal team is being sued for defamation by the brothers who attacked him.
Oops.
Who say they continue to be accused of carrying out a racist and homophobic attack against the actor. The brothers say their reputations have been damaged as a result of the claims. I mean, what reputation?
Yeah.
Really? You know,
well, I mean, people know of them now. So
yeah, I guess they can't get a job. So that works. Yeah, I guess so. Smollett's lawyers, Mark Garagos and Tina Glandian, described the lawsuit as comical and ridiculous. I mean, all of this is comical and ridiculous, really. Let's be honest. 12th of February 2020. So we're jumping ahead a little bit here. Fun fact, in the 1600s, the Dutch ate their prime minister. Nice. Sounds like something the Dutch would do in the 1600s. Wow. 12th of February 2020, Special Prosecutor Dan Webb, who was assigned to investigate how the case was handled, says in a statement he's going to further prosecute Jussie Smollett. The actor is charged with 6 counts of lying to police. 29th of November 2021, his trial begins. On the opening day of the trial, authorities allege that Smollett paid the Osundero brothers to carry out the attack to promote his career because he was dissatisfied with his salary on Empire. Special prosecutor Dan Webb argues the actor had developed a special plan that would make it appear that it was actually a hate crime that occurred against him by supporters of Donald Trump. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Basically, that's the plan, right? We're not stupid.
That seems like what happened.
Yeah, from the immediate report, that's the conclusion you would draw, and it didn't work out. During the trial, Smollett says the check was for a meal and workout plan from Abel, who he says was involved in he says he was involved in a sexual relationship with before the alleged attack. Why do you need to say that? Does that help? Okay, that's just. Why would you include that statement? That's just wrong. Jussie, what are you doing? You're not helping yourself.
Yeah.
I also had a pre-existing sexual relationship with one of my attackers who was like fake. Oh, it's just so
wait. They were African American men?
They were, yes, Nigerian. It says Nigerian descent. So maybe, yeah.
And one of them may have been
in a sexual relationship with him. at some point in time, but they also trained him.
But they carried out a racist and homophobic attack.
Yeah. Falls apart a bit, doesn't it? There,
Whoops.
really. Yeah, that's
close.
Self-hating, I guess. Maybe. I don't know.
Let's see what happened.
Smollett repeatedly denies in court that he had been involved in a hoax and says he did not call the police because as a black man in America, I don't trust the police. I'm sorry. I mean, that's a fair point.
It is, but what a dick. Now he's okay.
He's jumping on the back of other scandals at this point, isn't he? He's jumping on the back of actual hate crimes.
Yeah, he's just wrecking shit for everybody.
Yeah, he's like ruining everything, quite literally. 9th of December 2021, Jussie Smollett is found guilty. A jury of 6 men and 6 women reaches its decision 1 day after deliberation begins. That's not a long deliberation. It finds Smollett guilty of 5 of the 6 counts of disorderly conduct, meaning that the last one had not been proven in court. Each count carries a penalty of up to 3 years in prison. Given Smollett's lack of previous convictions, experts have said a lighter sentence of probation is likely. 11th of March 2022, sentencing and jail time. 3 years after the hoax attack and first police report, Jussie Smollett was sentenced to 150 days in jail in order to pay $145,000 in fines. His sentence includes 30 months of probation. Throughout the trial, the actor has claimed he would be the victim. He had been the victim of a crime. I apologize. This is nothing that I can do here today that can come close to the damage you've already done to your own life, Judge James Lynn told Smollett during sentencing. You've turned your life upside down by your conduct and shenanigans. I mean, yeah, that's it. That's a perfect statement right there.
Yep.
That's my phone. March 16th, 2022, an Illinois appeals court. Oh, sorry, I should say, just as Jussie Smollett is being handcuffed and dragged away there, he claims that he's going to get murdered in prison like Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, dude, you're not in any danger of anyone assassinating you. I'm sorry. Like, you are not. He's so deluded that he thinks some higher power is going to assassinate him while he's in prison. It's just he's outside of his mind at this point. And I understand it. You know, you go into prison for 150 days. 150 days ain't that long. B, good behavior, you're getting out. And C, it's jail, not prison.
Yeah, county jail sometimes is worse than going to prison.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it's not. I mean, the American prison system, nothing is a holiday unless you're Martha Stewart. But you know, she did easy time. But it just, I feel like his paranoia has got the better of him at this point. You are not Epstein level scandal, mate. You're just an idiot. So deal with it. Under Illinois state law, the Illinois Courts of Appeal in a 2-1 decision that Smollett should be released from jail. This is 5 days after his sentencing. Upon his posting of $150,000 personal recognizance bond pending the outcome of the appeal of his conviction. The court's ruling explained that Smollett was not released pending appeal. It would be unable to dispose of the instant appeal before the defendant have served his entire sentence of incarceration. Under Illinois state law, Smollett was not required to post cash bond, but agreed to attend future hearings concerning his case as directed by the court. Smollett's attorneys also argued before the court that Smollett's health and safety would be in danger while he was incarcerated, an assertion that prosecutors disputed. And that's where we're at with this Jussie Smollett.
So he got released on his own recognizance,
basically,
while he waits for appeal.
Yeah, well, he's waiting for appeal. It's he's spent a lot of money on this, you know, not just on lawyers' fees, but on fines and paying stuff. Like, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars at this point. And all he has to do is just say, look, I fucked up. I had this plan. It went awry. I've caused a lot of pain to a lot of people. I've set back the cause of certain civil rights organizations several years as a result of my actions. I apologize. I will serve my 150 days in prison, and hopefully I'll get out after 60 days on good behavior because, you know, good behavior, you know, county jail's full and he's not going to be there for 150 days. How hard is it to take responsibility?
Well, yeah, and then I swear there was a show on over here in the States called 60 Days In, where people went and purposely got themselves put into jail for 60 days just to see what it was like. And oh goodness, yeah, dude, if regular jackasses that want to do it to be on reality television can do it, you're gonna be all right, dude.
Exactly. Like, I understand he'd probably have to be in solitary for a fair chunk of that. And
just because he's an asshat and somebody's going to want to punch him in the mouth.
Like, even if he wasn't Jussie Smollett, the way he's behaved, someone's punching that guy because he's an idiot. So it's like, it's a difficult thing. I went for this because I actually had a politician in mind, and I may cover her next time. Yes, it's a her. But the Jussie Smollett thing was kind of on my mind because, like, at every stage of this, there was an opportunity for him to lessen the consequences on himself. I mean, yes, his acting career would have been over, and by maintaining his innocence, there's a chance that he can say, look, it wasn't me, it was all bullshit. Can I have my... And, someone might offer him a gig, but, wouldn't it be better for him to just get it off his chest and just, like, move on with his life,
Yeah, I feel like if you own your mistake, it's easier to get through it.
Absolutely.
And he's just not having any sort of ownership of it. Hey, you know what? Neither did Heinrich Mückter.
No, that's the big takeaway from this episode. Own your shit, because otherwise, you will go down in history as someone who couldn't take it on the chin, couldn't move on from it. And
never mind.
Jussie Smollett's still young. He's younger than me. Or is he older than me? No, he's about my age. He's like maybe a year older than me. So he's 42. So there's still time for this guy to kind of maybe get his shit together. Maybe like just admit that he was wrong. Maybe it takes a few years for him to come back. But, I'd like to know your score on this, because he is no Nazi war criminal, but man, is he stupid.
Yes. And because I hate the whole, the screwing stuff up for other people by false reporting drives me absolutely nuts. Anytime that somebody cries wolf, it makes it less likely for people that actually need the help or had stuff happen to them to get what they need. So for that, he gets higher scores.
For sure, yeah.
But I still want to... God, he's such a jackass. And it was ridiculous. Like,
it was so stupid.
God. Okay, I'm gonna go. Let's see. I think a 78 would be okay. I feel like I'm giving you low scores just because nobody really got hurt.
No, nobody really. I mean, you would say that the people around him, his family, they've been affected by his stupidity far more than he was.
Tupac's feelings were hurt that he was compared to him.
Yes, Tupac heard about it from his island retreat where he's still alive, and he was like, "You are not the gay me." But no, it's one of those things. I actually don't mind the low scores, because actually it's interesting for us to give perspective, because as stupid as Jussie Smollett is, he's no guy who invented thalidomide and affected 100,000 people and was also a Nazi war criminal. Like, he is nowhere near that level. He is just an absolute fucking idiot who tried a tactic of raising his profile. There are a million other ways you could have done that, buddy. You could have done imagine, instead of faking something, he went out and did something good, something really good.
Started a solid charity.
Exactly. Like, it did something so high profile, something so unique that people had to pay attention to him, and that, like, this guy is a beacon of hope for the community. He's got a high profile now. He's a good person. We want him on the show. Let's give him more money and sign him up for 2 or 3 more seasons or whatever it was. But instead, he went, I need attention. I'm going to fake a racist attack in one of the most divided times in America since the fucking Civil War. And I'm going to do it while President Trump is on the throne. It's fucking
You think
mad.
we could get him on the show? He's not in jail. It's not like he's doing anything. Let's ask him. What the fuck were you thinking?
You know what? I'm gonna Google this guy and see if he's still got social media. Get in touch with his people. Like, hey, Jussie, do you want to come on and talk about what happened or take responsibility? Now's your chance. Give us some rub. as well, you know?
Yeah. Popularity through improv right there. Absolutely.
That's it. Yeah, quite right. I mean, yeah, his improv was terrible, though, let's be honest. Like, I think, yeah.
Speaking of improv, there's a show on Netflix, Middleditch and Schwartz, and it's an improv comedy show.
Ooh.
And it's Middleditch, I can't remember his first name, from Silicon Valley.
Oh, yeah. No, I saw a few of those.
And Ben Schwartz, who was in House of Lies and all kinds of other stuff. They're amazing. Right. But they do this improv comedy thing. It's multiple episodes, but it's awesome. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. No, I need more Netflix recommendations because I've caught up on Stranger Things and I've watched Kenobi now, and I've watched all 3 episodes of The Boys that's out on Amazon Prime. So I need more recommendations on stuff to watch. God, that's
the streaming services need to stop doing that.
Yeah,
don't give me 3 episodes and then make me wait a week.
I know. One at a time, man. Especially 3 good episodes. Give me a couple of shit ones, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's our show for this week. I've had a lot of fun doing this. The Jussie Smollett research, I was like, really? Oh God, I forgot that. Oh my God, he said that. Oh my God, he did that. That's so stupid. But yeah, like the thalidomide thing was interesting because I didn't know that it was just this one person that created it, let alone a Nazi war criminal.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yep. And it's weird that like that didn't come out when they were doing stuff. But I mean, even the current CEO, it took them 50 years for one of them to recognize that it was a thing. And then they came out with like this statue of a deformed baby that was supposed to represent the hope of the Thalidomide babies. And it's just Yeah,
I actually think I know the statue you're talking about. That is
The Sick Child, I think it's called.
Maybe it's a different one. No. So there is a thalidomide artist. I shouldn't call her a thalidomide artist, but she was born as a thalidomide baby called Alison Lapper. And she now has a statue as one of the statues on the plinth in front of the National Gallery for a while. She's done a really amazing things, and she's now an MBE. She's a member of the British Empire. She's done so much work for charity and raising awareness of the effects of thalidomide. It's it's been an amazing thing. Toasterzoid, sorry to interrupt. If you're looking for shows to watch have you seen Hell of a Boss? Maybe I'll give that a watch. That sounds really good, actually. I do need more shows.
I'm intrigued. So yeah. What service is that on?
Yeah, is that on like something that I can get in the UK? We can't get Hulu, which is really annoying. Yeah, I know. I can get Apple TV, but not Hulu. Oh no, that's depressing. Anyway, we've got to go because it's kind of late here in the UK, and I have work tomorrow. But don't apologize. Thank you so much, guys. We love doing this show. We will see you again in a couple of weeks. So, Derek, would you like to say goodbye, please?
Thanks for listening, everybody. Goodbye.
It's a YouTube web series. There we go. And we will see you again soon. Take care now, everybody. Thanks. Bye now.